I know. A lot of you are worried today. I get that. And while I try to stick to sports here, I cannot not say something because this goes beyond sports or YouTube or whatever. But this curse wheel, it's a fucking frog, a hoax. It's a hoax! It's a hoax! And I had to say something. A tiny, whiny, baby bitch boy. You picked the Ravens last week? Well, where the hell were you, you so-called curse wheel? I brought you into this world, and you let me down when I needed you most? I'm gonna name you Raheem Moore. It's week 10, and I'm ready to rank the top 12 teams in the league. But we're gonna start in hell. That's where the Raiders and Giants are. They're both sitting at 2 and 7, and they are picking 5th and 6th overall in the draft right now. Oops, it got even worse since I last checked. 6th and 7th. They're picking 6th and 7th. They're like last year's Panthers, sucking as hard as they can without reaping any of the rewards of sucking. Also in hell, Giants and Cowboys fans. They have yet to see their team win at home this year. Thank you, Jay, on Twitter, who I believe is the best chart maker in the NFL. And Purgatory, Bears fans, praying Matt Eberflus is done after this season. Over the last 2 games, Bryce Young has been better on multiple metrics than Caleb Williams on the field. Chicago also hasn't scored first in a single game this season. Again, thank you, Jay. And heaven, nobody. We're all screwed until the Chiefs lose. The Steelers and 49ers were on a bye this week, so they will not be on my rankings. Coming in at 12, I've got the Texans. I think we have to talk about CJ Stroud, who's officially hitting something of a sophomore slump in Houston. Stroud, just 11 of 30 back on Thursday Night Football with no touchdowns, also no interceptions. This was his first game without Nico Collins and Stephon Diggs, and CJ completed just 36% of his passes. Holy shit, I didn't realize it was that bad. Even Anthony Richardson threw up after seeing that shit. This is one of those examples, though, of how quickly depth can disappear. Something that was telling in their loss, only Tank Dell, Robert Woods, and Dalton Schultz got passes. The ball was not spread around nearly enough, and nobody stepped up. And while the Texans ran into an incredibly desperate and feral team in the Jets, they get no reprieve with the Lions on Sunday night. 11, Falcons. It was fairly surprising that the Falcons stood pat at the trade deadline. They are on top in the NFC South, but they still massively lack juice at edge. I'm sick of saying it. And while a potential playoff opponent got Baron Browning for just a 6th rounder, Atlanta couldn't be bothered to bolster that position at all. Still just 8 sacks through 9 games. What's kind of funny though is that the Falcons are tied with the Panthers now for the worst quarterback pressure rate in the league. And second worst, the Saints. The NFC South is officially experimenting with not pressuring QBs. They've also been experimenting with their cousins, and he's doing it for him. Kirk, 4th in passing yards, and tied with Gekbus and Josh Allen for 4th in passing touchdowns. Coming in at 10.5, Baker Mayfield. He balled out on Monday night without his top 2 weapons, took the Chiefs into overtime, and he still leads the league in touchdown passes with 23. That's 3 more than Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow. Imagine if he was doing that on the Browns right now. Number 10, the Chargers. Holy crap, Justin Herbert starting to get hot. I mean, he's always been hot, but on the field is what I mean. 2 touchdown passes in each of his last 2 games, and he hasn't thrown a pick since week 2 at Carolina. Even in that Arizona Cardinals game, Herbie was dealing, just not to the end zone. Because he has that pretty boy face, I don't think Herbert gets enough credit for being tough as nails. And I'm not talking about painted nails, am I? I'm talking about the nails you use to build a goddamn shed like a man. Not the manicure you get after you're done building your shed. Because of those calluses, ugh. Now, he's been fighting through injury for essentially 2.5 seasons straight. He had that Liz Frank in his foot in the preseason, injured his ankle week 2, and now he's starting to get healthy, and his tackles are healthy, and the Chargers are finally gelling. Oh, and Ladd McConkey is 5th in receiving yards for rookies. Number 9, the Cardinals. Or the Rams, I don't really care. Lost in the shuffle of Cooper Kupp's return and Puka Nakua's injuries and ejection has been the play of Demarcus Robinson. Robinson has hauled in 4 touchdowns over the last 2 weeks, including that spectacular game winner in Seattle. Robinson is a 9-year vet who's already had his most touchdowns in any season of his career through just 8 games. That's a testament not just to Robinson, but to Matthew Stafford for his ability to work with the guys around him. Unlike that Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid signing every receiver they can fucking find, Stafford and Baker, they just roll with the punches. Like men. Now, I put both the Cards and the Rams here because I don't know who's better right now. You have to acknowledge that the Cardinals are playing complimentary football. Kyler didn't have to do much to beat the Bears, but that's because they gashed Chicago for 200 yards on the ground. In a game where Kyler completed just 2 more passes than the aforementioned CJ Stroud, Murray was far more efficient and spread the ball around to 6 different targets. Kyler has been way better than Stroud over the last month, and I did not think I would be saying that. So, good job, Cards. 8? Oh, I'm doing it, the Bengals. You did it, Cincy. You're back. Are you? Or did you just have the luxury of playing the Raiders? Regardless, these bad boys available over at benchwarmershop.com. That 2-headed cat, he's too damn cute. He's too damn cute. And don't forget, we launched my new coffee, that This Is Our Year blend. Or if you turn it around, there's always next year. Every bag appeals to every fan who has their season ripped away from them. It's gonna make a great gift for the holidays, so if you wanna get a new dark roast into your gullet, benchwarmershop.com. Brand new blend. We've been working on this for a while. I pee in every... No, I don't. They told me not to say I pee in every bag. You beat up on the lowly Raiders. Good for you. And you know what? I just wanted to talk about the Bengals because it's been a while. Cincinnati still has a treacherous 3-game stretch coming. They've got the Ravens on a short week, the Chargers, a bye, and then they're at home for the Steelers. Their season hinges on whether or not they can emerge from that death trap with at least a 2-1 record. And honestly, I think Khalil Herbert coming in via the rare Bengals in-season trade can help them do that. Which is funny because the Bengals have the 8th worst rushing EPA and the Bears have the 9th worst. But the Bears weren't utilizing Khalil Herbert, just 8 carries this season. So if he helps the Bengals dig themselves out of that hole, it'll be funny to me. Joe Burrow has had 2 5-touchdown performances this season.
That's an easy thing for me to do.
Burrow is playing better than he was last season at this point.
That's an easy thing for me to do.
He has 5 more touchdown passes and 2 fewer picks.
That's an easy thing for me to do.
And if they win Thursday, he will have the exact same record at 5-5 as he did last season. Number 7, the Eagles. It feels like the sky is always falling in Philadelphia. Nick Sirianni is always getting calls for his job, and yet the Birds stand at 6-2, winners of 4 straight, and they've got a point differential of plus 44, which is 8th best in the league. They're doing fine, but this division is going to come down to how their 2 games against the commies shake out. The first is in 2 weeks, and the second comes in week 16. For all the talk about Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley already at 1,071 yards from scrimmage with 8 touchdowns, and he's been crucial because they're not getting that running back by committee approach working like they have in previous seasons. And holy fuck, God, that Saquon play was still so cool. The Eagles could lose every game after this, and you'll still have that. Number 6. The Vikings. The Vikings needed to stop the bleeding after 2 straight losses, and they took care of business on Sunday Night Football against the Colts.
Sam Darnold's seeming to click finally this season. First time in his career, first round pick. Why? Why is this the time for him?
Justin Jefferson? Because you were thinking it.
One thing that struck me about the Vikings was their quarterback situation. They say goodbye to Kirk Cousins, signed Sam Darnold, and now through half the season, Cousins and Darnold both have exactly 17 touchdowns and 7 interceptions with a 69% completion rate. Kirk has the edge in yards, but he's also played an extra game. And Darnold is also $20 million cheaper, so I think Minnesota has to feel good about how the offseason played out. Number 5, the Commanders, aka the Commies, or as I'm gonna call them, the Connies. This is my condom covered with a Magnum condom, plus birth control, plus rhythm method team because they're safe as fuck. Safe when they fuck. The Commanders have only turned the ball over 3 times this season. Through 9 games, that's the fewest by any team dating back to the first time they started tracking turnovers in 1933. Speaking of dating in 1933, only Bill Belichick's girlfriend knows what it feels like to date someone born in 1933. Boom, roasted. Plus, I think you won the trade deadline by adding Marshawn Lattimore to your secondary. And the commie offense is making it to the red zone 48.8% of the time. Best by any team since the year 2000. Number 4, the Bills. I still want to see the Buffalo Bills run the ball just a little bit more because when they do, they are tied with Philadelphia and Detroit in run efficiency. James Cook, Ty Johnson, and Ray Davis have all averaged above 4 yards per carry against the Dolphins. And after that long touchdown rip, I think Ray Davis deserves more passing targets coming out of the backfield. Von Miller also returned in the game against the Dolphins. If you're wondering why nobody talked about it, it's because he didn't do anything. He didn't record a single pressure after getting 5 and 4 in each of his first 3 games this season. In his absence, though, Greg Rousseau has been very good with 34 pressures on the season. As you can see by this very hard to read chart, Rousseau's pressures are also extremely disruptive. Number 3, the Ravens. Can Derrick Henry become the first running back in NFL history to rush for 2,000 yards twice? This is a 30-year-old man we're talking about, and I think he can do it. Henry had 106 rushing yards in the win against Denver, putting him at 1,052 on the season through 9 games. He's got 7 games left, so by my math, he needs to average 135 yards per game the rest of the season to make it happen. I don't know if the Ravens want to put that kind of tread on his tires before the playoffs, but it would be really, really, really cool if you do. I think he should also get serious MVP consideration, but if we're being honest, he and Lamar Jackson will probably steal the votes, and somehow the MVP will just go to Patrick Mahomes, taking me to number 2, the Chiefs. It's kind of shocking to me that the only 8-0 team in the NFL is only plus 56 in point differential. 7th in the NFL, behind teams like the Chargers, who have 3 losses, a team they beat. Do you know how hard that is to do?
That's an easy thing for me to do.
The Chiefs look bored, like they're trying to stay engaged in regular season games by letting their opponent hang around until it's time to step on the gas and unleash the most demoralizing 12-play touchdown drive you've ever seen. And they're able to grind games to a halt and demoralize teams for one reason. They're converting 53% of their third downs, best in the league. And if you happen to stop them, they convert 86% of their 4th down attempts. And if you're the lucky 14% to stop them on 4th down, the refs bail them out, making Kansas City the first team in NFL history to convert 100% of their failed 4th down conversions. Yeah, that last part's 100% made up, but none of you felt surprised, did ya? Number 1, the Lions. The Lions answered the only question that was left. Could they win outdoors? Absolutely they could, and it turns out they looked a lot more comfortable doing so than the team that plays its home games on the frozen tundra in Lambeau Field. Now the Lions only have 2 more games where they go outdoors, one at Chicago, one at San Francisco. Then they can literally go the entire playoffs without stepping foot in the elements because they're in the driver's seat in the NFC for the 1 seed and with a shot to play at the Superdome in February. The chances of Goff and Amon Ra, nope, not gonna do it this time. Connecting on 30 straight passes like they have was 1 in 780,000. How long can they keep this streak alive? Call me an optimist, but realistically, I think they can do it forever. Ben Johnson is getting a lot of praise, and rightfully so, but defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn has taken a defense who was just 23rd in scoring last year and turned them into the 5th scoring defense through 8 games, and now he's doing it without his best player. And last week, he also did it with 0 visibility, which means he does have what it takes to stop Andy Reid. Okay, let's spin the fraud and see what the fucking fraud wheel says it's gonna curse this week, which we know it's not going to because it's fucking fraud now. Fraud, 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 you're a fraud! Okay, fraud. Okay, little fraud, little baby stupid ass fraud. Benchwarmer shop. Got all the cursed shirts there, plus my new coffee. Who cares, right? This stupid thing sucks now. We know you suck. We're not scared of you, you stupid wheel. You stupid fake poser ass poser wheel. You poser. What you got, poser? Poser ass poser. Oh, the Bills? You're going for the Bills now? Yeah, I remembered number 4 this time because I put my beloved Bills there. You ain't doing shit to Buffalo, you stupid little baby. Look at you, you fraud. You suck, you jackass. You are a fraud. You are a fraud. Nobody likes you. You're so stupid. Look at your glasses, 4 eyes, nerd, baby, whiner, coward. Suck it.